at the moment, so I'm just making sure I'm setting them up so that they're ready. Hello, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, I'm doing all the things. I can't do any checks because all of my devices are currently being used. So if you are watching, please just say hello and let me know if you can actually hear me, because I normally do the checks myself, but because I'm screening to so many different places, I'm not able to do that at the moment. So if I'm not looking at you, please don't take that as if I'm not trying to connect with you. It is that I've got two cameras operating at the moment. They are as close as possible as they can be, but they aren't quite aligned. So I have had to use two devices rather than just the one, but that's okay. We can do this together. So, okay. Let's get on to what the subject is. If you don't know me, hello, my name is Louise O'Reilly. I'm an Aboriginal woman, I'm a Wairua Noongar woman, and I'm a business and inclusion coach. And so this is a live stream a lot for business. So if you're not in business, you probably won't find this very entertaining. You probably won't find this very interesting. Please don't feel free to leave if you need to, because this is about business. And I'm talking about a new niching system that I've created, which really did look at inclusion, because what I found in the landscape is there was an inclusive lens missing from the standard streamlined niching systems. So this is a brand new one that I've created that I'm going to share with you, and hopefully it can help you deepen how you connect with your ideal clients, your ideal customer base, because we are looking at niching not in terms of demographics, but in terms of actually the whole person. So, but before I get too much into it, you won't see this on TikTok, but on the other stream, I've got some banners going on. So this stream is all about introducing the inclusive niching framework. Now, this is, again, I said, a framework that I have designed, and I'm sharing out publicly because there is a real lack in the inclusion of marginalised people. And so this niching system is a complete system that can help you talk to your clients, connect with your clients, and create offers that are really resonant with them. So before I begin anything, of course, I'm going to do an acknowledgement of country. So I, Louise O'Reilly of the Wairua and Noongar people, would like to acknowledge the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation as the traditional and ongoing custodians of the lands and waters in which I'm joining you from. I would like to thank them for the custodial role they have played, taking part in. They have always done so, they are doing now, and they will always continue to do. I'd also like to pay special respect to the Whadjuk elders and thank them for their community leadership, their guidance, their love, and everything they do and be for our community. I'd also like to extend acknowledgement of country out to the custodians of the lands on which you are joining me from, and pay respects to those elders in whatever title they refer to themselves on those lands. And of course, if you would like to join in and do an acknowledgement of country for the place you're on, I would love to know where you're connecting to me from. So you can pop in the chat where you're coming from, what Aboriginal lands or Indigenous lands you're on, and I would love to know where we're connecting, because isn't technology so cool that we can actually connect here, even though we're so far apart from each other. Now, I'm just going to check to see if there are any. I'm still learning TikTok live, so I'm not even sure how I can access the comments there, but that's all right. Let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to cover in this is why traditional niching reinforces privilege and what to do instead. Okay, so what we're going to talk about this is, in terms of niching, you've probably heard people say, you know, if you're going to do your niche, look at their age, look at where they are, look at all these different really surface level stuff that doesn't actually mean that you're going to be able to connect with your ideal client, your ideal customer. So it focuses on, again, those demographics, but we're not working with demographics in this niching system. It can form part of it if it's integral to your niche, but mostly if you're like a service-based business owner like I am, the demographics don't really mean too much. There are other things that are more important that can inform us better on how we can connect and talk with our ideal clients, and how we can create offers that really, really are meaningful and are going to create transformational changes in those people. So problem with those traditional kinds of niching systems is they are often like coded. They center most privileged people, right? Because if you consider your niche, and just say your niche is all these people that are inside here, you have a business which supports all of these people inside this particular niche. Traditional niching systems makes you focus on this small part, which is that most privileged area there. But it doesn't allow you to look at all these other people who are actually quite marginalized. They are your dream clients. They are in your niche. They do want your help. They do need your services. But our niching systems don't allow us to also focus on the marginalized communities. So my niching system will also help to allow marginalized people to be centered in your niching as well. It's not the only one, but as well. And this will allow you to have more people that you can connect with and have more leads, more potential clients coming to you, because you're actually including them in your business. You're making them part of your business from the get-go. Okay, so as I've said, this niching system, they will often ignore those the systematic barriers. I'm getting tongue-tied here. Systematic barriers, I got around it, to marginalized people. So they're not considering things like whether they've got disabilities. They're not considering things like, is there, are they from the BIPOC community? Are they from the queer community? Are they neurodivergent? They're not also considering these factors. And these factors and these traits are present in our communities. So why would we have niching that does never focus on these people? Because these people are part of our communities, and these people also need our services as well. So one thing I do want to really, really make sure you know, the problem isn't you, the problem is the system. Traditional frameworks weren't made or built to include marginalized people in them. So it's not you, it's not the way you're doing it, it's the system and the way the frameworks, niching frameworks have been set up to this point have only been including the most privileged people. So if you are one of those people who want to be dismantling the privilege system, you want to be, breaking down the patriarchy and making sure we are actually being part of a society. So even though we are in business, it impacts society, right? So the way we are in business will impact society. So if we want to be actively part of creating something better, something more inclusive for the future, we have to be doing it in our businesses too. We have to be doing it in every part of society too. So the problem is not you, it's the system. And what you can do instead now is use value-led, experience-aware frameworks, ones that are socially conscious. And this is something that's going to make sure there is great alignment with you and your potential client, but also there is great alignment in terms of they really resonate with what you've got to offer. They need what you've got to offer, and you have expressed to them that you understand them, you see them, you hear them, you value them, and you want them in your business. And so this creates a great level of trust, and it's expresses to them you understand that there are systems, there are barriers, there are challenges that marginalized people face, and you're not going to back away from that. You're going to totally acknowledge that, and then also make sure you still include them and still want them in your business. So this is the niching system that I've created. Apologies if you are saying comments, things are going way too fast for me to read them. But I'll just check these other comments. No, that's fine. Okay. So, connect with your right fit people without tokenism or performative marketing. So, inclusion isn't about this surface level, oh, I'm going to put diverse people's images up on my screen, or I'm going to say my business is for women and non-binary folk, without actually making sure on the inside of your business is ready and able to accept those marginalized people. It's ready and able to help them, because you are taking the time to listen to those communities, you're taking the time to learn from them. You want to learn the kinds of experiences that they're having. You want to learn about the kinds of the problems that they're facing. You want to learn about what kinds of things they've been trying, what kind of family structures they live in, all those different kinds of things. You want to be learning for you to not only be able to talk to them and let them know that your business is one that accepts those marginalized people, and that it is a place where you can express your understanding to a point where you also know those transformations that they need and that will be really beneficial for them and their life in the context of their life. So it really is something that builds a level of safety in your business for those people. And because we don't want to be about tokenism or performative marketing. And my clients are people who are really, really heart-centered, right? They're the people who really, really care about marginalized people, and they want their business spaces to be one that's really safe, caring, kind, considerate, and thoughtful and accommodating to marginalized people. So the thought that maybe their business or your products might be perceived as tokenistic or performative is awful. You don't even want to go there. You don't want to have that thought. And often that can make you freeze. That can make you feel like, no. But the thing that most likely is going to make you freeze is the thought that if you mess it up, you could potentially cause harm amongst marginalized communities. This is the biggest, most prominent fear with all my clients that they have, and it will stop them dead in their tracks. They will just be like, if I don't do anything, there's no chance of me causing harm. Here's a truth that I do want to share though. Silence is an action too. Inaction is a type of action. It's a choice of non-inclusivity. So if you just continue along with the status quo, doing things the way every other business does it, I'm really, really sorry. I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you this. That is supporting a framework of exclusion. It is supporting the privilege system. It is built on a system that was designed specifically to oppress, specifically to exclude and marginalize people, create barriers for them. And so you continuing in that system the way you are doing it is a perpetuation of that. So this new nicing system that I've created is one that is going to help dismantle that whole nonsense, because we don't want that anymore. All right, so we're going to actually move on. Let me have a quick sip. To the 4 core layers of inclusion niching. And there's one bonus one, which is also your lived experience. So if you're following along, I'm going to explain each of the layers. There are 4 layers to this niching system that I've designed. If you follow along with this live, you will have your niche in a way that can help you connect on such a deep level with your potential dream clients. And you can talk about it in a way that resonates with them and gets them to step closer into your business, become cold audience to warm audience to hot audience in a lot quicker way, because you will be expressing to them that you know and understand them on such a deep level. So let's move over to layer 1. Okay, layer 1 is all about energetics and values alignment. So what I'm talking about with energetics and values alignment is, first, let's focus on the energetics part. So there is a certain type of energy that we each bring to our businesses. And I've categorized these as a masculine and feminine energy. And that doesn't mean male and female. It doesn't mean anything like that. If you are unfamiliar with these terms, a feminine energy is more like something that is quite flowy, something that is to do with creativity, the arts, things that are linked in with intuition and things of that nature. And then the masculine side of business are things to do with structure. So these are things to do with like lists or to-dos or strategic planning, all those kinds of things that are very structured are that masculine side. So each of us, whenever we have a service, we come to it with either one or the other, but I really do think it's a combination of the two usually. So if you can understand the combination of the masculine and feminine that you bring to your business, you can also understand that the people who you need to attract or want to attract also have to be wanting and comfortable for you to be delivering your business in those proportions. So for me, it is around 70% would be feminine energy. So I'm very gentle, very nurturing, very understanding, very intuitive. Those kinds of qualities are what I mostly bring to my business. But then I have like around 30% of my business is structured. So we will do strategic planning. We will have action items to do, all those kinds of things. So I bring that kind of balance to it. And it just doesn't work for people if they don't enjoy that kind of balance. So knowing your own balance and what you bring to it can work out really good, and how you explain your services, that can really help. Now, in terms of values alignment, something that we need to do as business owners is really lead with our values. So there are certain values that we have that are really important and integral to our business. They guide how we do our business. They guide how we do our coaching or deliver our services. They guide how we show up in the world. Why we do or have the office that we have is guided by those values. So really knowing what those values are really important. Now they can like shift a little bit, and there's no, this is my values now, but I can't ever change it. That's not what I'm saying at all. For now, let's work with 3 values that you think are core to your business. Now, those values, one of them needs to be based in your worldview. So it might be something like, what do you want more in the world? Is it inclusion? Is it love? Is it peace? Is it freedom? Is it liberation? Is it wisdom? What is it that you feel your worldview needs to be in the world with your business? And that worldview needs to match with your clients. So they need to kind of have the same worldview as you. What kind of outcomes do they want to be creating in the world? The next value, so I'm going to tell you to choose 3 values for now. The next value is one that is linked with how you work. So just say in your work, you love to bring humor into it. You love to make people laugh. That's part of the way you do your work. Then humor could be it. If it is all about teaching, maybe teaching or leadership or wisdom or knowledge might be that second value. But that is also something that your potential client needs to be aligned with. They need to be there and going, yes, I want to work with someone who how they work is based on humor, or how they work is based on wisdom sharing or knowledge or teaching. So they need to have that kind of shared value of the kind of person they want to work with and the kind of value that they want to work with. How are we traveling? Are we going good so far? Yeah, I'm not going to comment on other things at the moment. This is a very specific webinar that I'm going to live that I'm delivering at the moment. But if you want to know my thoughts on other things, you can check out my page, because I do have lots of thoughts about lots of other things too, including politics and things like that. So let's move over to, and then the third, okay, let's go to the third value now. So the third value is a value that both you and your potential client share and enjoy. But this is where the difference will be for your client. You will have it and you will know it and you will feel that value, but your potential client will have that missing from their life. And this is what's causing them the problem. This is why they are feeling so uncomfortable. This is why they are seeking help. So, for instance, if your third value, it might be freedom. So you might be in your business, yes, I experience freedom and I have a kind of surface that allows my clients to experience more freedom in their life. But your client, on the other hand, is sitting there going, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. I'm so overworked. I have no time. I feel like I have no freedom in my life. That's where that difference is. That's where you're going to help them get. You're going to help them get to that point where they feel like freedom is part of it. Is that connecting? Is that landing for you? We're going to move on to the next layer in a second. Inclusive business strategies. Yep, beautiful. I do all of that. Okay, so the next layer to my 4-layer inclusive niching framework is the human struggle. Okay, so with the human struggle, let me just update this other side. I'm sorry about that. This really talks about what is your potential client actually struggling with? What are they going through in their life? What do they experience? What's happening in their body? What's happening in their life? What's happening in their work? What's happening for them spiritually? Really getting in, who is this person? What are they experiencing? And making sure you understanding them on such a deep level. And this really helps. This particular core layer of this niching system is one that can help you with your copy, right? Because we're not going to sit, there's so much stuff going on social media, there's so much stuff on the internet, we're constantly blasted with content. There's just content overload. So the faster you can connect deeply with your potential client, it's almost like you earn a little bit more time. If you say something and it connects, they're like, oh, that sounds like me. You've earned a little bit more time with them. So they'll read a little bit more. And then if the next thing you say, oh, that does connect with me, that resonates as well, you've earned a little bit more time. Time is currency. Attention is currency in this day and age. So getting to know your potential dream clients to the level where you know what's going on in their life, you know the thoughts that they're thinking, you know the things they've been experiencing, you know the things that they have tried. If you can explain what they are experiencing and share that you understand that, you know what they're going through, that builds trust, that builds like, and that allows them to step a little bit closer to you and your business and becoming an actual paid client. So that's the step, that is layer number 2, which is the human struggle in this niching system. We're going to move on to layer 3 now, which is all about the misunderstanding and the truth. So this is layer 3 out of the 4. So with this is often where my clients will probably struggle the most, because it is a concept that a lot of people in business may not have considered is really happening. You might be doing it, but you might not have recognized that you actually do this. So let's start off first with the misunderstanding. So the misunderstanding is all about your potential client. This is about your niche, and they have got a problem. They've got something that they need fixed, something that's making them uncomfortable, something that they don't like. The misunderstanding is they go, okay, so this is the thing that I don't like. This is the problem I'm having. So the solution is this thing. So they want this thing to be that this is the solution. Unfortunately, that's not the solution. And you, as the person who deals with these things, with these types of clients, with these types of problems all the time, you know the thing that they think is the solution isn't actually the solution for them. It's not going to get them the outcome they want. It's not going to get them the goals that they want. So you full knowing this is the person, this is your ideal client, your dream client, and they think this is the solution, but actually, you know, they need to move around that. It's like blocking them from actually getting the outcome. What you've got to offer is the actual solution. What your services are, what your transformations do is give them the outcome that they actually want. And it's not this thing. It's not the thing that they think is the solution. But we also want to be really supportive as service-based businesses, right? We want to not make them feel like they're silly or stupid for thinking that's a particular problem. We want them to feel like we've seen their struggle, we know what they think the solution is, and what we can actually do is we can provide the solution to it. We can give them that solution and then gently say, can you see now how that solution isn't actually the problem? It's not the solution for you. It's not going to get you the outcomes that you want. Here it is. You can have it, but that's not going to help you. This is the thing that can help. So you need to have that first initial transformation, that shift in mindset, that aha moment in them to make them realize, you know what, you're right. That isn't what's going to get the outcome or the goal that I want. It's actually your thing that you're offering. Now, we also don't want to be misleading. If our services aren't for them and they're not going to get the outcomes for those people, they're not our people. Let them find the right people for them. We're not doing manipulative stuff to just convince people that our services are for them when they're actually not. We're going to be real truthful and go, this is the way forward if you want your particular outcome, and I can help you with that if you want to work with me. So that's where that truth part of this comes into, that truth layer. It is the misunderstanding is that they've got a problem and they think there's a solution. That solution is the misunderstanding for them, but the truth is getting them to understand that actually it's not the solution for them. The solution is the service that you offer. So that's getting them around that. Okay, hello if you've just joined. If you have any questions along the way, please let me know. I'm about this particular system, not just random questions about this system. I can answer them if I see them pop up. And if I might even come back later and answer them as well. So the fourth layer, we're going to move over to the fourth layer as well. So this is the inclusion lens overlay. So this is something that really sets my inclusive niching framework apart from other niching systems. This is a whole complete system. So you can literally get rid of other niching systems and use this one, is having the inclusive lens overlay. And so this is where we really start to go, okay, we're going to start dismantling the privilege system. We're going to dismantle the status quo because it absolutely sucks and we don't want that to go any further. So this particular one is really integral, that you must do this overlays, inclusive lens overlay. And what it basically does is, okay, now you've created your niche up to this point. We got to start looking and understanding, okay, but what if my niche were someone from the Indigenous community? What does that mean? So what kind of barriers would that mean or introduce or challenges? What about if they're from the neurodivergent community? What if they're from the Black community, people of color? What if they're from the disability community? What if they're like chronically ill? What if asking yourself all of these different questions? Okay, so I've got my niche, but what if they have this kind of marginalization or they belong to this particular marginalized community? Am I still able to support them if they belong to that community? And so that's when you need to look at your services and go, oh, actually, no, I don't think I'm able to support them. I'm going to need to do some updating in my services to be able to welcome in people from those communities. And it really brings a good awareness to yourself too. Sometimes about your biases about what you've already created, because you might think, yes, my service is for everyone. But once you start overlaying this inclusion lens, you can start to realize, actually, maybe my business isn't as inclusive as I thought it was. And that's okay, because from this point forward, I can start building it more into my business. And so you just ask yourself some questions. Okay, so if they're from this particular marginalized community, how can I either remove the barrier completely for them or reduce it in some way for them? Am I able to do that? Do I have the capacity to do that? Also, what can I do to help them understand that my business is one that is welcoming to those communities, ones that value those communities, love those communities, and want to work with those communities? How can I do that with my business as well? So this overlay is something that really adds a depth to niching. And it doesn't mean you need to center marginalized people all the time. What it means is, when you're writing your copy, when you're doing your websites, when you're doing content, anything like that, just making sure there is some mention of marginalized communities throughout it, that you are also recognizing, hey, not everyone has this kind of privilege. There are also marginalized communities as well. This is how this space is built with you in mind. Now, I also would love to encourage you to have the mindset that I'm going to create an inclusive business, one that openly, warmly, publicly acknowledges marginalized communities, values marginalized communities, welcomes them in, loves them, all those kinds of things, even if you never have a client from any of those marginalized communities. It's not about the outcome of you getting those clients. It's about changing the culture of the business. It's about changing the culture of businesses in general. Because at the moment, the culture is to continue along this status quo, one that is oppressive, one that does marginalize, one that does exclude. That's the current culture of business. This is something that's going to be bigger than just our businesses. This is a business type of movement that is saying, we're done with that old system. That old system sucks. We don't like it. We don't appreciate it. We don't support it. So therefore, when using a new system, regardless of whether you're going to have marginalized people come into your business or not. So those are the 4 layers of my inclusive niching framework. There is also a bonus layer that I want to share with you, and it is called a bonus layer for a reason, because not everyone has access to this particular bonus layer. So the bonus layer is actually your lived experience. So it is, if you do belong to any kind of marginalized community, you are at an advantage. You can also look at, okay, what's your lived experience in this, and include that in your copy, include that in your content, include that in your services. You consider, okay, well, these are the kinds of marginalizations I've experienced. These are the kinds of challenges I've faced. These are the kind of obstacles that have been put forward to me. You can use those to help understand how your business can reduce those obstacles and can be inclusive and not exclusive. So those kinds of lived experiences are a real advantage for you. And I really, really encourage you to think about how you've lived with your marginalization and experiences that you've had and how you can make them better. So that's the bonus layer. Like I said, you may also fit into some of those marginalized categories, but not in others. Please make sure you are utilizing your knowledge and experience with those things. That's why it's the bonus level. Oh, there you go. There's the bonus level. On the other live, I just had to switch that over. Okay, so how inclusive niching leads to safer, more relevant offers. So I think I've already touched on this quite a lot. It is when you inclusion is something that is about deep listening, right? It's about really, really valuing marginalized people and listening to their voices, listening to their stories, listening to their experiences, listening what they're struggling with, listening to all, listen. What my elders will also always tell me is you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So we got to listen more than we're talking. Listen to these people. It is something that is going to amplify your marketing, okay? When you understand your niche to really deep levels, it is going to make your promotions, your offers, your content resonate so deeply with them, which is really going to be great for your business. It's going to be great for your marketing, but it's also going to get you some amazing leads into your business as well. It really is good, just generally good business practice to listen to your niche and to be able to reflect back to them the things that they're experiencing and show them you actually understand. And when they know you understand, when you express, yeah, I know there's such a thing as the privilege system. Yes, I know there's such a thing as marginalization. Yes, I know there's oppression. Yes, I know there's a system at work that is continuously doing the job of exclusion and of marginalization and of oppressing people. We know that. So if you can make sure your people, your audience know that you understand that you are socially aware and socially conscious of those things, that can help people feel safer to come and work with you. It is quite difficult for people with any form of marginalization to come and work with a person who they perceive doesn't experience that marginalization, because there is huge potential for misunderstanding. There's huge potential for assumptions, huge potential for biases, and huge potential for being harmed in those spaces without that business owner even knowing they've done it. So the more you can share that you are learning about inclusion, you are learning about different marginalizations and the impacts that happen to those particular communities and groups, and that you can share how you are updating or changing your business in some way to make sure that those marginalizations are really thoughtfully considered in your business, and you would making any form of accommodations that are required or any kind of inclusions in your services to make sure they are accommodated, they are cared for, they are considered. That is something that's really going to make sure that it feels safer for them to be there, and your offers will be more relevant to them as well. Because we have very different lived experiences in different marginalized communities, and we really do need to recognize the nuances that are in those, and yeah, really show that you actually understand that. Okay, so after all that, we've covered all those niche points of my inclusive niching framework system. So there's the 4 layers plus the bonus layer. If you have gone through and you have done each of these as we've gone through them, congratulations, that's a really powerful, deep niche. You are on your way. All you need now is your audience growth strategy. So you've got your niche. Now it's time, okay, how do I actually get in front of these people? How do I actually share that I understand this niche and I've got the solutions to the problems that my niche are experiencing? So make sure you come up with an audience growth strategy from there to get them into your space, to get them into your field, stepping closer to wanting to actually work with you. Now, if you don't have one, if you don't have a strategy at the moment, I do have a free webinar coming up soon, next month, on the 23rd of June. And it's all about how to attract aligned people to your email list. So this is specifically going to be for email list growth, so you can get clients and not just subscribers. So if you do need some help with the strategy part, I'm offering a free webinar. I will be sharing, if you want to check out that webinar, let me know, and you can either DM me or check out my page, because I'll post something about it on my page. But I haven't set all the links up yet, so otherwise I'll just post the links out and you can use them. But if you would like that to come along to my free webinar on how to attract aligned people to your email list, please let me know. Even in the comments, just let me know, and then so I know to send the link to you. And it'll just be to the info page. I'm not saying you have to join. I'm not saying you have to register for it, but it'll send you to the information page. Now, you can sign up for it or not sign up for it. That's okay. But the thing is, I want to be really clear as well, making sure that ethical side of business comes through as well. If you do sign up, you will be added to my own email list, because this is also part of my growth strategy. So I would love you to come there, and I'd love for you to be in my world and part of my emails. And you will get to have that free webinar as well on the 23rd of June. Yeah, and of course, like everything, you can unsubscribe if you want to. That is absolutely okay. If you watch the webinar and then you're like, okay, I'm done now. That's totally okay. So how are we going? I want to stay on just a little bit longer just to see if anyone's got any questions to come up about the niching system. If you've got questions about niching at all. I'm just checking the other live at the moment. So how are we going over here on TikTok? Thank you so much for everyone who's joined and been listening along. I really, really appreciate you. Okay, it doesn't look like I've got any questions coming through. Okay, well, if you've enjoyed this, please don't forget to come and follow me, because I'm going to be doing more of these kinds of lives over the next month. I've got what are we today? 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 new lives planned. And so it'll just be like this. We can just have a quick chat. I'll run through the different bits and pieces. So next week, it is going to be on email lists, oppression and ethics, and why I had to create my growth framework, which is actually another growth framework. But that is all from me. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining live. I appreciate you. And I'm going to end the stream. Much love and bye for now.